All right, finance students, welcome to chapter 12. We are looking at analyzing cash flows, cash flow analysis, which is always fun. So we're going to break down, in essence, where all our cash flows came from in chapter 11 that we see, okay? So let's work through some of these practice problems that we have here and kind of see what we see. Okay, so start number one, Talbot Industries is considering launching a new product. The new manufacturing equipment will cost $17 million. Production and sales will require an initial $5 million investment in net operating working capital. Now, if you're not completely familiar with those terms, make sure you go back, read through the book, look at the PowerPoints and other video resources that we have up there to kind of help you recognize what some of these terms are. Company's tax rate is 40%. So what is the initial investment outlay? Well, we know the equipment's going to cost $17 million. And they also have to lay out $5 million in networking capital, basically raw material stuff for operations. Okay, so you can do your auto sum for those two. So our initial investment outlay is going to be $22 million for this. Okay, so B, the company spent $150,000 on research related to the new product last year. Does this change our answer? No, because that would be considered a sunk cost, which we do not include in our cash flow analysis, in our free cash flow analysis that we have. Okay, now, rather than build a new facility, the company plans to install the equipment in a new building it owns but is not now using. It could be sold for $1.5 million after taxes and commissions. Does that affect your answer? So yes, opportunity costs, that would be an opportunity cost. Opportunity costs are included in free cash flow analysis. Because it's an opportunity cost, it is a cost that they are giving up, or it's basically it's income that the organization is giving up to do this project, then yes, it would be included. All right, let's look at this one. The financial staff of Cairn in Communications has identified the following information for the first year of the rollout of its new proposed service. 40% marginal tax rate. What is the project's operating cash flow for the first year? So we're looking at their operating cash flow. Operating cash flow is one of three sections in free cash flow analysis that you'll need to understand. All right, so sales revenues, we know, are given to us up here at 18 million. We know our operating costs are 9. Now, I like to include my numbers in negatives so they show red, so I can see them visually that is a negative number, that is a cash outflow that we have. We also have to include depreciation in our free cash flow analysis because depreciation directly affects our tax liability, right? And we'll see that here in just a second, okay? So now we have that. We can add those up. So we have our operating income before taxes is $5 million, and then that's what we pay taxes on. So we're going to take our $5 million times our 40%, and that's $2 million, but I want that to be a negative because I want that to be a negative cash flow, so that's a negative. So then we can add those two together, the 5 and the negative 2, or $5 million minus $2 million would give us $3 million. But depreciation is not an actual cash flow. We're looking at cash flow, so we have to add back in our original depreciation of $4 million because that only affects taxes, and then add those up, the 3 plus the 4 back together. So our operating cash flow for the first year is $7 million, okay? Remember, depreciation, we include it because it directly affects our tax liability, but once we include it, we have to take it back out, or we have to add back the depreciation to get to our final operating cash flow number,